Hello guys and welcome to today's In the Bag. I've now been sponsored by Northstar for almost a year, basically the entire 2023 season, so I think it's time to actually share with you guys exactly what I'm throwing. I do mainly have Northstar discs, but since I don't have all molds yet, I do have a few old discs as well, but you guys are going to see those too. I did just go out to the field and throw all of the discs so you guys can actually see how they fly, although at the moment we have some pretty serious winds here in Denmark, so some of the discs are going to be flying a little bit weird, but you know, comedic value added. Just keep in mind that I'm throwing in a little bit of a left to right wind, so the discs will get pushed a little bit right more than they usually would. Well, let's get into it. Let's start with, of course, the putting putters. The most important discs in the bag, because if you can't putt, you can't win. Putting is money, that's what they say, right? And for putting, I have two Northstar Zooms in the putter plastic. Now the Zooms have been a little bit of an up and down for me, at least to begin with in my Northstar career, because the first Zooms that they made were a little bit deeper than this one, and it was a little bit too deep for my tiny hands, you know. Also, the plastic that they used to begin with was a little bit slick, so if you try one of those to begin with, basically they've changed them quite a bit. They realized that they might have made it a little bit too deep, so they made them slightly shallower, cut a little bit of the deepness out of it, and also made this super awesome, pretty grippy plastic that just makes the disc leave the hand at the right moment. At least that's what I feel. So now I can confidently say these are definitely my favorite putters ever. I have never been so confident with a putter in my hand as I am with these Zooms. I haven't necessarily been able to show the results, but you know, I haven't really practiced any putting this year due to my shoulder injury that I had in the spring and everything. So I will say though, these are awesome, definitely worth a try. And next up, we have the throwing putters. And if you saw my last In the Bag video, which was with Trilogy discs, I definitely said that throwing putters is my favorite discs ever, and that is still true. I love throwing putters. You know, it's just simple. They go straight and you can throw them like pretty far. I'm carrying these three for my backhand throwing putters. They're all Zooms. Actually, give me just 1 second because it's so cold out here. The wind is killing my hands. I'll be right back. Get some gloves. Okay, that was better. So, let's walk you through these putters. So basically, I always like to have three throwing putters. One that's kind of understable, like this one. This is just a putter plastic, so it beats in a little bit faster, and basically it's gotten a little bit more unstable. I'll use this one quite rarely. It's mainly like if I need to have a putter start flat and then turn over by itself, then I'll use this one. But the vast majority of the time, when I reach for a putter, this is the guy that I'm reaching for. Like I said, these are all three Zooms. This one is like the glimmer plastic. I guess it's a C-line with glimmer. That's my best bet. And this is just your generic, like, go straight. Doesn't really flip up. Maybe from a tiny hyzer it will flip up. But otherwise, like, doesn't really flip. Doesn't really fade. It just goes straight if you put it flat in the gap. And you know, everyone just needs to have that. It just feels so good, this one. It has like some, I don't know, it just gives me the good vibes, you know. Also, usually pretty easy to find because, you know, the glimmer kind of glimmers because that's what it does. But yeah, I'll even use this one for forehands every once in a while. You know, I have been known to do like some Anheuser forehands in the woods for my scramble shots, and I usually do that with glidey throwing putters like this one. So this is the one I'll use for that if I need to, you know, get a little extra glide to the left. And the final one, this one is a glow C-line Zoom with some sparkles in it for some reason. I don't know. This one is a little bit funny. It seems like an experiment, honestly, but Northstar sends me some cool stuff every once in a while, and this is definitely one of them. It has like a few sparkles all over, and then in this little area here, it just has like infinite amounts of sparkles. It's kind of funny. But this is my overstable putter. I can trust it into pretty intense headwinds even. Not like, you know, if it's like sick headwind, then no putter like glidey putter will stand up to that. I'll reach for my spies at that point. But basically, if I want to make sure this one doesn't go right, I'll reach for this one. Or if I just need a little bit of finish in the end with the putter shot. Next up, these are my approach discs, and they are mainly used on forehands, but I will use them on backhand every once in a while if I just need something like beefy, you know. 3 spies, again, kind of same deal. Actually, not kind of same deal because they're not different stabilities, all of them. This one, BS Spy, you've seen it on a lot of my videos. I will say this one is starting to get a little bit too flippy, and I will replace it with a new one, a new BS Spy soon. Because basically the purpose of this one is supposed to be like your little forehand disc that you use in the woods. If you just want a forehand to go straight on low power, either that or the scramble shots, you know, around trees. Like I said, sometimes I'll use this one, but that's if I need like a lot of glide when I do the in-heiser forehand shots. This one is just like, you just want it to go left, and it'll have a little bit of fade in the end because it is a Spy after all. But this one has taken a lot of beating. I don't know if you can see the profile on this, but it's like getting pretty concave, like puddle top kind of. But it's kind of nice. It gives me a little thumb track. I don't mind it at all. By the way, keep in mind, all of my putters I have used for the over 1,000 shots in the woods for my ace, so some of them have gone a little bit flippy, but the two stable zooms are still pretty stable, are still just as stable. So I will say generally the Northstar plastic, I've been super surprised by how well it keeps its stability. It's just super consistent, which sometimes can actually be a little bit annoying because I've been trying to beat some discs in that don't really want to get beat in, but more about that later. This one, the BS plastic, definitely does beat in. So yeah, that's a little bit flippy, this one. Next up, this is the Sparkle Spy. This is just like my most generic upshot disc. It's completely board flat. Just feels really good in the hand. The Spy is generally really stable, you know, like the perfect approach disc is supposed to be. I can throw this into headwinds, it will not flip. I'm pretty confident in that. And also, this one, for some reason, their Sparkle plastic does tend to be a little bit more slick on the ground. So if I need a skip pretty consistently, I will go for this one. Because I'm not sure the physics behind this. I'm not a physics person, I guess. But it just skips. I don't know. If you've played Disc Golf Valley, this one has the trait of big skip, which is pretty cool and pretty useful sometimes. But this is definitely like forehand upshots from 70 meters or in. I'll always reach for either this one or this one. If I do not need distance and I need an upshot that's just consistent, I will reach for this one every single time. This is the one that we call the no glide Spy, because it's puddle top and it's born like that. It's supposed to be like that, okay? For some reason, this one just came out puddle top, and it's the best disc, the most broken and overpowered thing that I've ever had in my bag. If you don't have a disc like this, I'm sorry, because you're going to have a disadvantage against me in tournaments. In the essence of the disc, it's the same as the other one, a normal Spy, you know. It's stable, doesn't flip into winds, feels like an approach disc when you hold it, but it has the feature that it just hates to fly because of the puddle top. And it's just so easy to control. Like, that's what you want on upshots, right? Something where if you accidentally put a little 10% extra on it, it'll still only go, you know, 3 meters longer because it doesn't glide. I don't know. To me, this just feels like unfair. Unfair advantage on that one. You guys should get one. If you can find it. I'm not sure. I have 3 of them, so I have backups for the rest of my life. That's perfect. Next up, we've got the mid-ranges, and I do not feel good about mid-ranges in general. I've never had a lot of mid-ranges in my bag, although I will say I am starting to really love the Wingman, and it is the best feeling mid-range I've ever had. It just goes far and goes pretty straight, I'll say. It's like, you know, your generic mid-range, that just you need that 85, 90 meter straight shot. You reach for your straight mid-range. This one has been in my bag the entire season and has also been used quite a bit on the Ace Run video there, so has hit a lot of trees. It's starting to get pretty flippy, which I like. Basically, like I said, 85 meter shots in the woods where I needed to just go straight and really never fade. I will use this one. I'll just throw it on a little bit of hyzer and it'll stand up to flat and just go, go, go. Good to have that. This one, this is a Dynamic Discs Verdict. So this is one of the discs I have in my bag that aren't Northstar. Don't really reach for it too often. It's just like sometimes you just need 5 or 10 meters more than a Spy, but with the same stability, this one will never flip. It's most for like windy runs where I just, you know, need that little bit extra, but don't want to disc up to like an overstable fairway driver. I'll reach for this one. Also, it says you got this, so it's like a little confidence builder, you know. I guess for the next one I'll go... Okay, let's just go all the fairway drivers here. Those are my fairways. We'll start from an end. Well, start from the end and end. We'll start from the beginning. The Evader has been in my bag for 4 years, I think. Really beat up. Used to be pretty stable, but is now fairly flippy to a point where I throw it on my stock hyzer release into a gap and it'll flip out to flat and just go straight. You know, it has that old beat up style of understable to where it's the fade that kind of goes away, so it just doesn't fade, but still like can hold up to some power. It's like my easy 95, 100 meters. I can push it out to those distances with not a lot of power, because I don't have a lot of power, okay? Next up is my Paladin, and I am looking for this disc to eventually replace the Evader, and then I'll put a new Paladin in the back that hopefully is new and stable, like this one is now. I haven't been able to beat it in yet. Like I said, some of the Northstar plastic just doesn't really beat in for me. I don't know what it is, if I like don't throw hard enough or don't hit enough trees, or I don't know. Something's up with me, or maybe the plastic is just really good. To begin with, I was a little bit skeptical of, I guess it's just generally like 7-8 speeds I haven't always loved because they're a little bit deep still, but I've come to realize that we all need them. Like they're here to stay, man. Because it's just like, you don't put a lot of power on them and they just glide, and they just go really straight but can still go almost as far as my distance drivers. And this one has a lot of stability to it, to a point where like I'm not afraid of it flipping over. Even into headwinds, I'll throw this one pretty confidently on a slight hyzer. It might pop out to flat in a headwind, but if there's no wind, it'll just hold the angle that it is on until it has flown its 80 meters and starts to fade, and it'll end on those like 90, 95 meters. Super consistent, the overstable, glidey fairway driver that everyone needs. Next up, this is my 9-speed. It's my old, stupid overstable fairway driver. You know, kind of utility disc kind of thing. If you need like an intense skip to the right on a little forehand, or you have like serious Danish headwind storms, this one doesn't know what wind is. Gotta have it. Haven't been able to find a Pacific OS that is quite as overstable as this one just yet. I know that Silas has one, and I'm a little bit envious of that. But yeah, I need to have this stupid overstable disc in the back. You know, everyone does. Next up, we are over to the Pacific and the Pacific OSs. This is a 10-speed, and chances are, if you're watching this video, you have probably also watched my bending video, because it is by far the most popular video on my channel. This is the one that I actually threw into a tree 100 times. And I've thrown it into many more trees afterwards and really tried to beat it in a lot. And it is finally starting to get pretty flippy. But I do have an interesting story for you guys. I haven't told you this, because the result of the bending video was really that bending didn't really work, but throwing into a tree 100 times did work a little bit, but it didn't work enough. So Jacob, who you might remember, made the initial claim that bending can make a disc more unstable, and even Magnus, he actually joined him on the take as well. They were not satisfied with my conclusion that bending didn't work, so they basically told me, do you have something that needs to be more flippy? Because we will make it more flippy, just give it to us. And I let them borrow this one for a little bit, and they literally folded it up like completely and multiple times, stood on it and like stomped on the thing, did everything they could to make it more flippy, and it worked. It actually did work. So I am now kind of convinced that you are actually able to make discs more unstable by not just bending them. I will say it was more than that. Bending them and standing on them. But like seriously bending a disc multiple times. And this is now in the exact state that I want it to be. You know, I can pop it out on that little hyzer, my stock hyzer release, and it'll go up to flat and even a little bit over, and start turning over and hold an hyzer for a long time, and then maybe land flat or something like that. Really good turnover disc. Not too long ago, I still had the Escape in my bag for that exact reason, because, you know, I just need something that I know will go right on a backhand. But this is actually that now. It is finally, I've finally been able to make it understable enough for that. So really happy about that, and stoked to throw that one every time I pull it out now. I was a little bit frustrated that I couldn't make it understable, but that one's good now. And then this thing, the Pacific OS, this is NS plastic as well, just like the other one. it kind of took its old place, because this one is now beaten a little bit. It's Pacific OS, so it's by nature a little bit more stable than the normal Pacific is. I wouldn't say a lot, but a little bit. But it has now been beat into a point where it's like a new Pacific. But I'll throw it kind of on the same purpose as a Paladin. You want to just throw something flat and then have a little bit more fade than the Paladin has, and not as much glide. But the main purpose of this thing for me is little flip-off forehands in the woods. This one feels extremely good in a forehand for me, just like the way that the wing is and all that stuff. Feels like a forehand disc to me. So yeah, basically this one would be my little flip-up through the woods that I can kind of shape on all different kinds of shapes. At least when my forehand works. Hasn't been very good lately, so yeah, I don't know about that. Has a little bit of wobble, which this one does not take. And because that one is starting to get a little bit more flippy, I recently put a new Pacific OS in the bag. This one is actually also glow, so I was expecting it to be very stable. It's not really very stable, it's just stable. It'll not flip for me on my backhand, but it's also not like aggressive overstability like the Felon will be. And if I throw this one into headwinds, it will start flipping. So it's only a little bit more stable than the other Pacific OS. I'm still getting to know this one. Haven't thrown it much yet. Yeah, we're still becoming friends. Hoping for a good relationship with that one. Yeah, let's just go all the distance drivers in one here. I do have 6 distance drivers in my bag, and I will go from this end. A little bit of dirt in my disc here. I don't clean my disc very often. I'm sorry, discs, but that's just not part of our relationship. This is my old grays. Basically, my backhand is not that fast, so if I want something that is supposed to like hold a turnover and not fade too much in the end, I need to have an 11 speed. So this is like my max distance turnover. Haven't quite been able to beat any of my launcher USs into this state of understability yet, so I still need this one. And also, I just need an 11 speed, honestly, because 13 speeds will fade a little bit on my backhand. But next up, exactly that, what we were talking about. This one is a little bit dirty, sorry about that. This is the launcher US, and this is like my main distance driver for my backhand, like, you know, my bomber. I'll throw it on a little bit of hyzer, and it'll flip up to a just over flat, go a little bit right, and get that little S curve kind of thing, and it'll fade a little bit in the end. These ones go far, in my opinion. They're pretty good. I will say, this is another case of like I've been wanting to beat this one into a roller. Nah, not happened yet. Eventually will be, hopefully. Maybe I should give it to Jacob and Magnus and let them bend it until it's a roller, but not yet. So far, it's just my bomber. And this is the first one I put in my bag. I've had this understable distance driver in my bag the entire year, and it hasn't gotten too understable yet. I don't quite understand, but that's how it works. Next up, 2 launchers. These are pretty similar. This one is my main launcher that I've had in the bag for the longest. I love the launchers for forehands. It's like the forehand bomber. Oh, by the way, I did throw the launcher US out on the field as well, which is what you're seeing right now. But it got caught by a crazy gust or something. It definitely does not fly that understable usually, so don't get fooled by that. Now back to the launcher. These are just bomber forehand drivers. I've never been able to throw forehands farther than I have, but these ones, when my forehand isn't in shambles, I can throw this one out to like 135 meters on the forehand. And a completely new launcher, I will smash flat, and it will like do a little bit of turn and then a little bit of fading in the end. It's just that perfect stability, and they feel really good in my hand. They really do. This one is a little bit, it's been in the back for a little while, so it's starting to turn into like a little flip-up forehand driver, distance driver. So that's why I also added this one into the bag. It's a little bit more stable because it hasn't been thrown as much, but they're quite similar, so in reality it's just a backup, because what is a man without his launcher? What if I threw it into a lake in the middle of a round? I'll be screwed. I'll also backhand those if I need to make sure that it just, you know, doesn't flip. It'll flip a little bit on my backhand actually, but not much. It'll flip up to flat and keep, you know, pushing left. Next up, we have 2 launcher OSs as well. I only use this one ever. I will never use this one. It's just a backup. Let's not talk about it. Doesn't matter. This is my main one because it's so gorgeous. It has like those little pink swirls and everything. Absolutely love it. This one is super overstable. Not like stupid overstable to where it doesn't fly, but it has the same like distance and glide as the normal launcher does, but it will not flip. Even on my power forehand, it will not flip at all. Also doesn't have like aggressive fade, I wouldn't say, but it definitely does have some fade. If you see me throwing on the backhand, it will look like an aggressive fade. But yeah, super happy about this one. I've been throwing it into some pretty stiff headwinds, and it'll only flip up a little bit still. Pretty pop top. Don't know if you can hear it. Oh, I definitely know that you can hear this. But yeah, solid guy, a lot of glide. That's just what the launcher does. Finally, I have one more disc, and it is my utility disc. As I am kind of a guy who wants to have all of the tricks in my bag, I need a roller. And like I said, I haven't been able to beat any of my Northstar discs into rollers yet. So this is an old lightweight beat up diamond. It's flippy. If I throw it flat, obviously what you're seeing right now is I throw it flat and it goes to the roller angle, but there's left to right wind, so it's pushing it into the tree line there. But I use backhand rollers quite a bit, and this one I can just throw flat and it'll get down on that perfect roller angle, go straight for 80 meters, and then go over to the right in the end. Like a 100-meter backhand roller, really consistent, super good to have, and this one just does it easy for me. I'm definitely looking forward to getting one of my launcher US's understable enough to have like a distance driver roller, because you can definitely get more distance like that. So that's pretty much it. Don't know if I have anything else to show you. Oh yeah, actually I have one of Mark's discs. He doesn't even know. I literally just found this one in the woods when I was making the field shots for you guys today. So I'll get this one back to him. This is his own little dice. Shout out to Mark. But, you know, that's not usually part of my bag. Thank you guys for your interest in what I'm throwing. Maybe I do seem a little bit biased because I am sponsored by Northstar, but they haven't told me to say anything about these. These are my honest opinions on all of the discs. And I'm genuinely really happy about the discs that they have given me and the discs that they have created. I think they've done a really good job, and they're definitely worth a try. Oh yeah, I guess I'll add one more thing. Sorry about my hair, but yeah, my hat, definitely MVP in my lineup here. I will almost always wear this hat on the course. It says Jesus is my boss, and I think that's pretty funny. And it's the truth. You know, gotta keep your values with you out there on the course. At least I do. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite disc. And if you're interested in getting any of these guys, go to your local retailer and pick one up. And if they don't have it, ask them why they don't. Because it's kind of weird to not have Northstar in 2023, dude. Subscribe if you feel like it. And have a good day.